Have you spent your entire life running, moving from one task to the next, treating life like it's a game of how many things you can cross off your to-do list? What if that list was taken away? What if every label attached to you, mother, father, teacher, lawyer, whatever labels you've been given, what if all of them were removed? Who are you underneath all of that? Who are you at your core? Welcome to Cosmic Zenergy, where we return to love, truth, to the light that runs through each of us and connects us all, where everyone has a place, where your weirdness isn't just welcome, it's celebrated. That's my official explanation of what Cosmic Zenergy is. But in simpler terms, I want to spread love and light in the world. I want to help ease human suffering. Almost everything I create, design, or build started from a painful moment or a difficult situation. Creating is my body's natural response to pain, whether it's mine or someone else's. And I've chosen to see that as a gift I can use to help others. I've been trying to put this story into words for years, but the moment you try to express what you feel deeply in your heart, you lose something. Trying to perfectly capture it all has left me silent, slowly suffocating a part of me. So I'm going to share it all to the best of my ability and know that's all I can do. There are many pieces of how Cosmic Synergy came to be, and I believe many of you will see yourselves in this story. If that's you, this video is for you. So let's take it back to the beginning. This story doesn't start with me. It starts with my mom and dad. Together, they were the perfect combination of unconditional love, generosity, and unshakable strength. And from a very young age, that shaped who I am. I promise I'm not going to bore you with a full life story, but that piece was critical. My mom is a generational cycle breaker. In her bloodline, going back several generations, there were multiple ancestors who could not speak or hear, and a history of abuse that was passed down from generation to generation. A lot of pain, a lot of silence. Things were hidden and never talked about. My mom came into the world and endured a childhood that breaks most people beyond repair. She never knew what safety felt like. She never knew how to simply just be, to breathe. But she made a choice. Through all of it, she chose love. I asked her once, how? How did you survive that? And she didn't even know. She couldn't explain it. But I think I figured it out because I know my mom. She is the biggest nurturer I have ever met in my life. She would do anything for the people she loves. And she had three younger brothers who depended on her for almost everything. She basically raised them. So I said, I think you did it for them. I think they were your reason. You had to be strong for them. And she started crying because she said, I think you're right. I love my brothers. My mom is my best friend. You'll see her in my content, often referred to as the queen because that's what she is to me. And my dad. My dad was 6'3", huge arms, the belly to match, and a man of very few words. A rock when he needed to be, but playful and childlike, a big teddy bear. He could walk into a room and you felt it. Intimidating doesn't even cover it. Unshakable. But when he looked at me, I always felt completely safe, completely protected. He passed away when I was 19, and years later, after everything cracked open and I finally met the deepest part of myself, I gave my soul a name. I named her Billy, after my dad, because when I finally got quiet enough to hear her, she felt like him, steady and strong, always there, never leaving. That's who's been guiding all of this when I let her. Now, let me paint you a picture of who I was before all of this. Because if you knew me then, you would not believe I'm the same person sitting here right now. I did not stop, ever. Go, go, go energy, on the move always. Said yes to everything. I was the person running from my office to the copier because walking took too much time. I attempted things most people would say were flat out impossible, things that made no logical sense for me to take on alone. Always adding more pressure because that's all I knew. Saying I couldn't do something would mean defeat, and there was no way I was letting that happen, even when it meant sacrificing my own well-being and health. A quote I used to live by was, either I will find a way or I will make one. which sounds good on the surface, but you have to stop and ask yourself, yeah, but at what cost? Later, I got an accounting degree, not because I loved it or had any real interest in it, but because it was the safe thing to do. It was the most logical answer to three questions I asked myself. What am I good at? What will always be hiring? What pays a decent amount of money? So that's what I did. I worked at CarMax's corporate office for 8 years. Then I left. I spent about a year trying to figure out what I actually wanted, but spent that time researching other logical options instead of asking myself what I truly wanted out of life. But I took too much time analyzing my next right move and financially had no choice but to return to accounting and office management. So I worked at a law firm for another 8 years. Always the most logical next step, no real risk, no real thought given to what I actually enjoyed or wanted out of life. During a lot of that time, I was dealing with some very heavy personal situations that aren't mine alone to share. What I will say is this: during that time, the only way I knew how to process pain was more force, work out harder, run faster, lift heavier. I had to push myself so hard physically that there was no room left to think about anything else. The workouts had to require 100% mental focus just to survive them. I moved fast, I stayed busy, I kept going. But here's the thing about running that hard: you eventually run out of road. A friend and also workout leader in my life spent 2 years trying to get me to try yoga and meditate. I didn't even give the thought room to breathe. It was an immediate no. Why would I do yoga? That's not even a real workout. Why would I sit there and think about things when I could just be doing them? That was exactly my thought process. I don't think she'll ever know how much I appreciate her for not giving up on me. I finally agreed to try yoga, but for one reason, and you're going to laugh when you hear this. She had amazing shoulder muscles, and I wanted to know her secret. So I went, and I immediately just turned it into another challenge, another thing to prove to myself I could do. I hated not being able to do the hard poses, so I started going every day, sometimes twice a day. Totally missing the entire point of yoga would be an understatement. Then she got me to try meditation. I'm pretty sure the only reason I did it was because she had a Facebook group where you could win something by earning points for completing meditations. I am that competitive. If meditation is what it took to win, then I guess that's what I had to do. I don't even remember if it was the first time I meditated or a few sessions in, but at some point, meditation changed everything. Meditation opened a gateway to an entirely new world, and it was the beginning of me deciding to never be so close minded about anything without truly giving it a chance. Meditation taught me that there's a whole other source of relief I never knew existed. For the first time in my life, my brain got a chance to rest. I didn't have to fix or solve everything. I could just let the thoughts be there without chasing them. That changes everything. I eventually went through yoga teacher training, not to teach it professionally, but for my own growth. And I can't fully cover this in this video, but during that time, I also encountered severe issues with toxic mold that displaced me for over 2 years. That story is coming in another video. Just know it was one of the most disruptive things I've ever lived through. A year or two after COVID, I finally bought a house. I was able to feel a little settled after moving from one apartment to the next for 2 years. And wouldn't you know, my house immediately became my next project and a new to-do list. Fix this, build that. I built a 21 by 14-foot deck with a roof above it completely by myself. I just transferred the doing from one place to another, never taking time to enjoy what I'd create before moving on to the next thing. And then one day I read a book, Your New Beginning by Brian D. Ridgway. I had heard the concept before that we create our own reality, but something about the way he presented it made it land differently. I was finally ready to hear it. It hit me like a lightning bolt. I didn't gradually shift. I snapped awake. I remember laying in bed reading it and immediately sitting up straight, thinking, this is my rebirth. I started letting things go. I started sitting still. I trained myself to stop reacting to every unfinished thing around me. which was really hard at first, but I almost became too good at it. I still have a lot of unfinished projects around here that started during that time. But my nervous system had spent over 40 years in nothing but action mode. It had never learned how to just be. The moment I decided to be still, it panicked. It's almost like my body said, "This is unfamiliar. I don't know what to do with this. We're not safe." I developed a face picking problem. And I want to talk about this because I know I'm not the only one. It wasn't about my looks, it wasn't vanity. My body just didn't know what to do with stillness, so it found something to do. And then it became a cycle of shame and guilt, losing entire days, sometimes weeks, trying to hide it, cover it, fix it. Days of my life gone. It took me almost a year to understand what was actually happening. And I finally realized my body wasn't broken. It was just doing the only thing it knew how to do, searching for something to hold on to, doing something to stay busy, because that's all I ever knew. That's what I want to give you instead. If you're in a cycle you don't fully understand yet, if you've taken 3 steps forward and one sideways and wondered if something is wrong with you, nothing is wrong with you. Your nervous system is just learning something it was never taught. I've always been someone who finds a way through a problem, so I started learning and studying everything: the nervous system, the subconscious mind, spirituality, testing things on myself, seeing what worked, going really deep on everything I touched. And during this time, I built a solid connection with my soul, with Billy, my inner voice. And that's when this vision first came to me. It started as pieces and slowly kept building and building. I took some action but could never fully bring myself to step all the way in. But I kept going. I kept sitting with myself, releasing decades of stored emotion, old stories, old weight. From the outside, it probably looked like I was doing nothing. But on the inside, it was like taking 40 plus years of litter scattered everywhere and going through it layer by layer, picking it up, sorting it out, getting it out of my system. So here we are now. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I left that job, maybe even longer. In that time, I have not been able to bring myself to go back to a traditional full-time job. Something in me just won't, because I know what I'm supposed to be building. I know what Billy has been showing me. And every time I've considered going back, I feel it in my body in a way I can't ignore. It's not my proudest moment, but it's the path I took, and it forced me to know myself at the deepest level. So I've been doing DoorDash to get by and other gig work, but I've been financially struggling in a way that is heavy and real and has affected everything: my schedule, my nervous system, my ability to just flow and create freely, adding extra pressure to make my vision a reality. It's not the path I would suggest anyone take. And I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you because I want you to understand who is behind this brand. I'm not someone who built this from a place of comfort and then decided to teach others about transformation. I am someone who has been in the middle of her own transformation while building this, in real time, with real pressure, with real fear knocking at the door every single step of the way. I've also come to realize something. Every hard day, every battle, every ounce of pain I had to sit with, it always led me somewhere. It led me to explore, to create, to find a path that allowed me to keep going. And without that, I would never be able to pass any of it on to others. So I'm genuinely grateful for every step of the process, even the hard ones, especially the hard ones. Throughout this time, I've started 3 different e-commerce stores, built them, and fell back on each one. Started a YouTube channel, changed direction, started again, created designs that were divinely inspired, and then didn't promote them, built products and sat on them. Not because they weren't good enough, because I was hiding behind perfect to avoid being seen in the process. But here's what never stopped: the vision. My soul gave me this vision a long time ago. You are to be the relatable one, not the guru, not the expert with all the answers, the friend, the one who says, just try it, just come in. It's safe here. You belong here exactly as you are. Like my friend did for me with yoga, like that book did for me with awakening, like meditation did for me with stillness. I'm the crack in the door. And everything I've built, the store, the Soul Nudges deck, the songs, the videos, the challenges, the deeply guided journeys, the method, all of it is just different ways of opening that door a little wider for someone who's standing on the other side, wondering if they're allowed to come in. You are. Cosmic Zenergy isn't a brand I invented, it's a brand I became. The name says everything. Cosmic, because there is something so much bigger than us at work. And I felt it too clearly to pretend otherwise. Zenergy, because when you get quiet enough, when you stop running long enough, when you finally meet yourself, there's this energy underneath all the noise that is calm and powerful and completely yours. That's what we're here to get back to. I don't do anything halfway. When I discover something, EFT tapping, subconscious reprogramming, meditation, mindfulness, nervous system work, I don't just read about it and pass it along. I go all in. I study it. I try it on myself. I sit with it until my brain has every piece of it and my body has actually felt it. And then I share what genuinely worked. I'm not here to recycle information. I'm here to share what I've actually lived. Everything I create lives inside a method I developed through my own journey. I call it Root, Reboot, and Rise. Root, starting with true self awareness, getting radically honest with yourself. What are you feeling? Reboot, identifying the pattern or belief that isn't working anymore and consciously choosing something different. Not perfectly, just consciously. Rise, embodying the new version, living from it, not all at once, not without stumbling, just consistently returning to the version of yourself you know is real. And here's what I've learned that nobody talks about enough. Rising doesn't mean waiting for things to be perfect. Rising means acknowledging where you were, choosing differently going forward, and taking action exactly as you are. Because without taking action, you'll stay stuck in the healing and rebooting cycle forever. I know this cycle far too well, and I've only recently started to break through it consistently. Root, reboot, and rise. It applies to a single moment or an entire lifetime, and it runs through everything I create. I have tools available right now: a Soul Nudges deck, a healing guide, songs, a free comfort letter, all designed to meet you exactly where you are. The links are in the description. And there is so much more coming. I've bottlenecked my own vision for so long that I can honestly say I've only shared about 5% of what I've actually built. One thing I'm really passionate about is helping people express themselves authentically, learning to be who they are without fear of being judged. The first step I'm taking toward that is launching a daily challenge. Every day I'll post one thing to help you practice being unapologetically yourself, out loud, at whatever pace feels right. You don't have to post it, you don't have to share it. The win is in doing it. I'll be doing every single challenge right alongside you, because this is a challenge for my own continued growth just as much as it is for yours. I want to talk directly for whomever this video was meant to find. Maybe you've spent your whole life moving fast and you don't even know what it feels like to slow down. Maybe you've been through something that rewired your nervous system and you've been trying to hold it together ever since. Maybe you have this dream, this vision, this thing inside you that you know is real, and you just can't seem to get out of your own way long enough to make it happen. Maybe you're building something beautiful in private and running out of energy to keep going alone. I see you. I grew up knowing what it feels like to be truly loved by both of my parents, completely and unconditionally, and I know not everyone gets that. I know there are people who have gone through their entire lives without ever feeling that kind of love, that feeling of being fully seen, fully safe, fully enough, and that breaks my heart, because I believe every single person deserves to feel that in their lifetime, even if they never got it growing up, even if they have to learn how to give it to themselves first. That's really what all of this is about. Everything: the deck, the songs, the designs, the challenge, the community. All of it is just me finding every possible way to make you feel what I was lucky enough to grow up feeling: loved, seen, safe, enough. I'm not here to be your guru. I'm not here to tell you I have all the answers. I'm here because my soul told me to be here, because generations of silence live in my blood, and I came here to speak. Because my mom broke a cycle of pain with nothing but love, and I watched her do it, and I want to do the same thing at scale. Because my dad, the man who never needed many words to make me feel completely safe, lives inside me as the voice I finally learned how to trust. This is Cosmic Zenergy, where we return to love, to truth, to the light that runs through each of us and connects us all, where everyone has a place and your weirdness isn't just welcome, it's celebrated. A place where you are allowed to be soft and strong at the same time, where comfort isn't laziness, it's wisdom, where spreading love isn't naive, it's the most radical thing you can do in a world that profits from your pain. If even one person finds something I created, a card, a song, a video, a single sentence, and if it gives them the strength to make it another day, that's everything. That's why I kept going when it was hard. That's why I'm still here. That's why none of this is optional for me. This isn't a business. This is a lifeline I'm building, and I need you to know that. In this video, this is one of many steps. There's a lot still in progress, a lot still being built, but I'm human and I've wasted enough time trying to make things perfect before sharing, and I can only take one step at a time. Come as you are. You belong here. And if nobody has told you today, I'm really glad you exist. If this video resonated with you, here's 3 steps you can take. First, subscribe. There is so much more coming and I don't want you to miss it. Second, regardless of where you are on your journey, I have a free gift to support you. Link is in the description. Third, leave me a comment and tell me one thing from this video that hit home. I read every single one and I respond, because this isn't just a channel, this is a community, and every single person in it matters to me. Wishing you love and light from my soul to your soul.